This is the weekly meetup. We got Sydney, we got Sweets. We're gonna touch on a few things. We're gonna get into some recoup stuff. We're gonna show you guys a little rhythm game we're working on, and that's about it. Let's make this magic.
Sid, our circus master for the day. Do we want to start on game demos on Isaiah's side?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let me hop on. I'll take over here. So biggest change in the last week, we were having. Let me find a file to feed this real quick. Biggest change in the last week, we were having this bug with the customizing. Drag and drop, cool. So last week you'd get this error when you tried to use a background image, but now we currently have background images available for the game. So when you customize, just select your image and it'll load in the game totally fine.
Fire.
Same shareable activities as always. It'll save the link. So user doesn't have to do anything. We don't have to store any files on the back end. It'll just automatically load from the URL. Just normal stuff, like it has to have cores activated. So if the user tries to submit a link that doesn't have that activated, it'll notify them that they need to update the link. So there should already be a little bit of error handling on that side. So this was the biggest change. When I was implementing this, I ran into a bug to where it's like, it was working fine on mobile Safari, but then on mobile Google Chrome, it wasn't working. And it was like that same error we ran into with SyncStream, where it's like you have to hit play before the audio starts. And for some reason, hitting the play button the first time wasn't registering it, because once this countdown is done, this counted as a new screen. So I just had to put some new error handling in there to make sure audio always plays on mobile, regardless of the amount of taps. Biggest fix right here, and that brings us to functional. And this is about where we're at. We have a fully functional MP3 to rhythm game template going now. All these options going here. We have the notes, the effects, and the background colors. So the customization options are pretty dense. You can go pretty deep with it. I'm feeling satisfied with this current status of it. I think we're good to start testing, maybe getting in some people's hands and stuff. But yeah, that's current status. Open to any thoughts or feedback or anything of that sort. Obviously, I'll show an example of the image too on the generation side. I think I pulled this image last time. Boom. Just come in here, and then I'll show a little preview of it as well.
So fire.
Cool. Thank you. Any thoughts, feedback, any other places we should take this one?
Sweets, what's your thoughts?
I want to launch this as like a stack. I want to get this out and be like, this is our blueprint game. Release it open source, launch the web app, get people trying it. My question for you, Sid, is what specific blockers need fixed before public game launch? Or do you have a different release strategy? I mean, I'm external to this. I feel like, Sid, you're owner and Isaiah's creator. So me jumping in and being like, let's launch it open source feels like nut gallery thoughts. So I think I'll throw it to you after that little yap to hear what your thoughts are.
No. Continue down your path. I want to hear your feedback before I give mine.
There's no open source Guitar Hero. Isaiah just built open source Guitar Hero. I mean, it's not, I don't know if it's open source right now, but it's a base for Guitar Hero, and releasing it open source not only helps us get eyes like my own and other devs, it also helps everybody in the ecosystem, so that if anybody else ever wants to build a Guitar Hero, they come to Recoup, which builds up our brand name as someone who provides high quality open source software that others are actually building on.
Give me your best case scenario for an Isaiah post about it open source, and then what it looks like in your head.
We take what I've been doing is I take 3 of those game tweets that have been blowing up, take 3 of those, copy them, like the airplane flyer and some of the other video games that we've been seeing. Take 3 of those tweets that have blown up, copy the text, put it into Claude, say, I am releasing a video game open source Guitar Hero that I built with X model. Please reference these tweets and write a thread for me to post about this, including the link to get started in the last tweet, and then let Claude write out the storm based off of other viral tweets. It gives Isaiah a moment to blow up and leverage the video game trends. And we don't have to think too hard about the announcement post. We just take stuff that's already getting lots of likes and throw it into the model.
And then best case scenario is, let's say it gets some retweets. Is the intention for musicians to be able to build on top, devs to build on top of the open source repo to improve the game? Is it the intention to get musicians to use it? I mean, obviously both, but like what would be the ideal perfect scenario if you had to pick
The
one?
intention for me is to close this iteration cycle. Isaiah, how long have you been working on this single task?
A few months, probably 2025. It's been like the background project. So not too intense, but it's, you know, it's been there.
In my mind, the goal is to iterate as fast as possible. And if we're spending months on an iteration, that is not iterating fast enough. And so my question is, why haven't we closed this fully and then set a new goal so that we're not spending another 3 months? Because if we don't get this out the door, Isaiah's going to come on next week and give us another tiny update and then another tiny update. And it'll keep being tiny updates until Sid says, this is done, let's move on. And so my question to you is, what's blocking it from being done? If there's no concrete blockers, we should ship it publicly, because more eyes is more attention, which is more feedback, more people to try it, more people to tell us what's missing. I think just like Isaiah put a lot of time into this, now's the time to ship it, unless you have concrete blockers. You keep talking.
Yeah, this was the.
Let's get a SID model output on what is actually blocking us from shipping this, or what is your ideal launch plan for this, if not what I've suggested.
Yeah, this one was my blocker. It's like I feel like this is the update where I could confidently like push it forward. I wanted to have those customization options for the artists, but now I agree with Sweets. I think it's the time of like ship it out the door. And it's almost like the two paths. It's like we either just open the floodgates, let's give the code to everybody, let them run with it, or try to find a path to like monetize. But I think there could be a benefit of putting it in everybody's hands, but then we'll just have to figure out to paying for the storage of the MP3 files, because that's the only expense that would come with scaling this up if we let, you know, hundreds of people into it.
So, okay, my thoughts are twofold. One is, I agree, let's post and open source. We can still monetize. The only benefit of open source, the only downside, there is no downside of open source until we scale and somebody takes it, but we're not there yet, so don't worry about it. I'd rather open source it and see what happens. That gives us it will give us two feedback loops. One is, do any artists create anything with it enough that they post and use it as a campaign release tool? And I think maybe the best option, like what I don't want to do, and my hesitation for my initial hesitation for your strategy, Sweets, is the inevitable, not the inevitable, it's the wrong word I put, it is the possibility of doing everything that you just said, but then it just getting stuck in the ethos of 500 or 50 views, and the iteration cycle passes, and then we're like, all right, it just obviously doesn't work. Nobody likes it, so let's move on to something else. Where I want to make sure we give it the best platform and option to actually have a good feedback loop and say, are artists actually going to use this thing? If not, why? Are devs going to build on top of it? If not, why? So like make sure we at least before we roll things out, which I'm super open to, like we have those questions and we understand what success looks like. For example, are we shooting for, like, Isaiah, you drop a tweet and we just get one person to like organically be like, that's cool, let me do it, sign up, really use it. Like if right. To me, that's a success, because it gives us one person to then be able to be like, how, why, tell me how to get better.
What
and we
was
can
your experience?
iterating on top of that. The only issue with that is that I guess basically what I'm saying is like let's try to put some numbers or some flagpoles of like here's what we want to minimally get if we do launch this thing, so that if we do tweet it and it doesn't pick up steam, we can still like be like, okay, well, our goal was 3 artists, so let's manually reach out to 3 artists and see if they want to do this. Like try to set up some kind of system so that we know we put everything into seeing if this thing has legs, before we decide to continue to iterate on top of it. But that was my only concern. Everything else, I think we should open source it. I think that it's a great idea, Zaya, for you to throw in those viral tweets and follow that format. If we can throw in any kind of base functionality, just so that you get the retweet from Jesse, if that's coming in the future, if we can attach it to Recoup where we can do a wallet thing, I don't know, but so that it just has a little bit more legs to stand on in the tweet. Yeah. Well, and then I also think it might be something where it's not one tweet, Isaiah, but like if I'll retweet it, I'm sure Reach will retweet it. But if you want to schedule out a week or a couple weeks of continuous retweets or continuous tweets about this, so that it's not just a one and done, but you give yourself 50 shots on net to like give this thing some legs in various forms of, here's what I did. I'm also open sourcing it. Tweet number 2 days later. Check out this open source game. Check number 3. Hey, any artist, just give us some shots on goal. But yeah, my biggest concern right now, and the only blocker for me is what's preventing artists from paying us to use it. Which then goes into the question of would artists use it for their rollout? And then it goes to the question of if not, why? And then there's our entire iteration cycle that we need to start building on top of. But yeah, I'm cool with moving forward on it. I think it's an awesome job. I think it's an awesome prototype. I think that it can infinitely expand this idea of open sourced vibe coding games, even though it wasn't truly vibe coded like all in all, but like, the only
low-key. This one was all cursing. I think for me, like a good metric, I love that thought process with the rollout. I say we just like push for it. Initial goal out the gate is like if we could just get 5 people to use it. If I could get 5 people to at least generate their game, but even there, if 3 of those people share the link and actually push it forward to their audience, that's a good metric of success this first time. And then from there, we could just watch the snowball. It's like, okay, if it picks up steam, keep getting that feedback, keep iterating and seeing how far we could just end up pushing it. But I do think it's smart to just start with that initial, would somebody use this for free? And then, if enough people use it for free, keep trying to push it, how could we maximize their experience on it?
Perfect. Yeah. Would somebody use this for free? If not, why? And there's our blocker. There's our iteration right there.
Sid, I'm glad you said will artists pay to use it. That's a good goalpost for us to shoot towards. And I think one of the biggest benefits I get from opening it up in public is your mindset immediately changes when we start talking about it public and you go, well, what's missing or where do we actually want to go? I've liked LaRussell's. I saw a video from LaRussell yesterday where he was like, a lot of people's marketing strategy is you post once a week. And so you're getting 4 shots on goal per month. LaRussell's out there and he's like, I'm out here posting 5 times a day. That's 35 shots on goal a week. That's 100 some shots on goal a month. That's X shots on goal a year, which is moving me up so much. And then someone replied in the comments, yeah, that's all good until one of your posts gets 5 likes on it. And then LaRussell replies, you don't win every single shot you take on goal. And like it just further said, like the goal is to just keep shipping. And so I think getting this out is a good step for me. The question that I want to end this with is, what are the next updates we want to do after we launch it public? We're going to launch it. It doesn't feel complete on my side, but I'm glad we're getting it out there. What I would love to do once it's open source, I want to go to V0 and strap a clean game, new game UI so that it's cleaner and as simple as possible for someone to come in with a new game. I want to post the results on base. That way, like you said, we can align it with on-chain to get those retweets. And I also want to add a tool call into Recoup so that if a musician wants to build a game, build me a game, we'll help to automatically use a tool inside of our chat to tie in with Isaiah's game. Sit on your side, what to aim towards your flagpole of artists pay to use it, if we launch this public today, what other features do you think are missing? Or is this a better question to toss towards Isaiah?
Two responses. The first one is sync stream integration. Is if there's a way for the tool to generate streams for the artist and collect emails, and it gives them more of a reason to use it. So is there an easy way to implement sync stream and login functionality? But again, that's my initial thought. The devil on the other side of my shoulder is saying, like, artists might not give a fuck, release it and see. But then the other angel's like, but they don't even know it exists. So they're not going to ask the right questions. Like, they're going to ask for a faster horse. So but we can always add later, and if people start using it, and we can always ask one of our early users, hey, dope, you use that. Would you like to integrate it into sync stream so that you can get streams while people play? So I guess, I answered my own question there. So the second question that I had is, do we have the right tracking in place to be able to identify the metrics that we want to understand as much as possible for iteration cycles? So is there anything we're forgetting that we want to see who's clicking on what? We want to see where they're stopping. We want to see where they're getting hung up. We want to track, are they sharing it? And if so, who's going to click? Are they going to come back and ask us, cool, like, how many people played my game? Are we going to be able to tell them that information? So just before we do launch, maybe just one last hurrah of tracking and making sure we have the data collected so that we can make informed decisions.
Copy. Yeah, that's a good idea. Because I know we'd be able to see how many people went to the site. We'll be able to see how many games are created, but I don't think currently we can see how many people played one game, like if one game is blown off. So I'll add some metrics in there so we can actually evaluate all that stuff. And then, I think you hit it on the nose with the sync stream thing too. I think that seems like that could easily be like a pro plan, once it takes off. Oh, you're using this version. Do you want to add the sync stream capability? And I love that thought process. And then on my end, the only thing would be to just continue increasing that like UI, that user interface, making it as seamless, as like sexy as possible. It should just feel nice. So I would double down on both those points.
Is it already
sounds
open
like
source? Am I able to jump? Can you send the repo link? Am I able to like go?
It's not
like I feel this itch to go in and start looking at it and poking at it. But if it's not in a place where you feel like I could start poking at it, just let me know and I'll respect the space.
Open source it right now.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, I got repo.
If we get a GitHub link, I'll change the QR code.
Yeah.
In our QRs.
We had somebody scan our QR code last time.
Yeah, it's like if we have 1,000 viewers, we'll get one. So it's like a 0.1% conversion from viewer to.
Well, it's because Sweets, you have to put like win $1,000 and then like a point up.
Yeah, some real reason to scan the QR. I think people just want to learn out the genuineness of their hearts, and in reality, people want to get paid.
Yeah. Are you late to a 2 p.m. Sweets?
No, Heno and I were supposed to be meeting, but he texted me that he is on a plane right now.
Nice.
So I have no more meetings for today. Isaiah, how are you on time? We're 9 minutes over.
Oh, I'm solid. No extra meeting.
Sid, your meetings?
I'm good.
Rue's a little less noisy today.
He's not in here today. He's on the balcony. I couldn't take his ass. He's fucking balcony.
All right, here we go. Here's the link for you. Oh, wrong shot on that one.
It's okay, I got it. All right. What should I call this? You're calling it MIDI is the name of the game? Is that the name we're going with right now?
Yeah, maybe that's what I was trying to debate too. Maybe like MP3 to game,
There's
MP3
I got the
game
QR in the
generator.
top left right now. Do you like that call to action, or should I change it to something else? Isaiah, you on creative direction on the name.
Clone MIDI works with me.
Okay. So if you're watching this, Isaiah's just opened up the MIDI repo. You can have first access to it. There's a QR code up here in the top left. Scan it, clone it, be one of the first to get access to this new video game, and let us know what you think. If you have already cloned it, let us know in the comments what your thoughts are. And reach out to @TheCircus. You can see his handle in the title to reach out directly to the creator and have that direct line of communication with one of the top game devs that's building in this AI revolution.
Let's go.
What kind of repo is it? I'll pull it up. While Sid's typing. Sid, whenever you're ready to keep moving on, let me know or let us know. I'm going to start exploring the. Am I
Let's
sharing?
explore it. We have some time.
Or are we on my desktop, or do you guys see GitHub?
We see GitHub.
Cool. So this is a Next project, and you've deployed it with Vercel?
Correct.
Wow, this is sick. And is there any database attached?
No, not at all.
Cool.
I was just pure vibe coding.
There's no license in here. Do we have any preference on licensing, or are we okay with MIT license, the most permissive and free license?
I'm cool with MIT.
Sid?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Cool. And the first question that I had is, do we want to move this into Recoup, or are we comfortable keeping it under TheCircus?
I mean, whatever is easiest for now.
Easiest is don't move it, I would say.
Yeah, then I think we just leave it.
Cool. We got an SRC.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna look for a domain or something.
This is
that way we
super
could host
simple.
it and it could just live for a little bit. Thank you, Sweets.
This is awesome. Oh, you do have Supabase in here. Are you not using this?
Mm-hmm. Oh, we are. So that's how we save the games basically. So the MP3 files, when you upload it, it saves to a Supabase storage, and then there's a table displaying all the game information. So you could see like, which users generated the game, which customization options they chose, and then attaching a link to the file. And then that way, when you share a game, that the game ID is all saved in Supabase. So we can basically go through the table and just access any game we want by copying the game ID into the link.
Okay. I'm immediately thinking that this is what I want to put on chain. Put the games on chain, MP3 files on Arweave. Then we don't worry about Supabase, and all of the games are on chain.
Ooh.
Which leans into what I want to do with Recoup overall, which is more of the actions for like credit usage, put it on chain to just keep leaning into the on-chain summer that we're about to be coming into in a month or two. But I feel like I've been taking this conversation and hijacking it. This is Isaiah's game. Sid and Isaiah usually chat, and I usually stay quiet. And I feel like this talk I've taken over, so I'll stop the app.
Please, more input the better, more energy the better. I love the thought process on it.
No, I think we're on a roll. Let's fucking go. I mean, Isaiah, you have your next steps, right? Go viral.
Next steps.
Fucking tweet and go viral. Like nothing else.
Yeah. Tell us how we can support you with that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we'll track the metrics, we'll plan out the rollout strategy, and we'll just start pushing it out to everybody. But I'm ready. It feels good. We're at a place where it's finally like let's open the floodgates, and that feels great.
Agreed. All right. Sweets, you want to get into your side of things?
Yeah. I have been trying to get an Instagram follower scraper working, and I keep feeling less and less hope. I have not found a successful thing to work. The things that I have been trying, I went into Grok deep search and had it write out a whole report on, I pasted the same MIQ into Claude, Grok, and OpenAI, of whatever my MIQ is. How can I scrape Instagram followers in a deployed environment? Claude was useless. OpenAI did deep research and was decently helpful. Grok was the best and told me to go with Python and a library called Instaloader. And I tried using Smart Proxy because we already saw that trying to deploy it, we were going to get authentication issues. Vibe coding with that, I was not able to get a successful scrape of followers. I then started to go back and just search for services that might already have one. I found one called Phantom Buster, but it was only able to give me the first 50 from a profile like Gary Vee. And so I'm in the shower. I was feeling pretty lack of hope about this, and I keep wanting to throw in the towel. And so the thing I need to do right now is find a good question to orient myself around to allow me to see light in this tunnel and not feel like I'm still muddling around through darkness. Because right now it feels like any service that built on Instagram scraping has deprecated that service, because scraping followers is something that Instagram is very much trying to battle against. And it seems like any service that offers anything Instagram related puts in a note of like, if you get errors, just know that Instagram is actively battling services like ours and it could be impacted, which just, it takes away my hope when I see that anybody that's trying either has deprecated that service or includes a little note that like, even our service, there's bugs in it because Instagram blocks stuff.
Okay, I have two thoughts. Two questions.
And we got a QR scan.
Fuck yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, my first question goes back to your initial thought of like you're trying to get back to like out of the hole and ask yourself the right question. So my question is, do you believe anything's possible with code?
I do.
Well, then there's your principle right there, sweet.
I hate you.
I like it. We're getting deep. There's some psychology going on here.
You know, just believe in yourself and your own core principles. There's
okay.
your
Next thing is GraphQL. I've been seeing on Reddit some GraphQL. Instagram has graph calls that are called from the front end when you visit it in the browser. And so I'll try out these GraphQL calls that I'm seeing on Reddit and see if I can use those with the Smart Proxy. I also have not tried Puppeteer or one of the like browser-based implementations. My biggest reason is I feel like that's just going to be really slow because you actually are manipulating a browser rather than just making like, give me the data in an HTTP request. And then we also have not tried the Instagram API. And my concern with that is that's a very direct, they know who we are. And if they start seeing scraping behavior, we already see that they block that on an IP level from like general queries. And if we have told them who we are and they see all of our data, I have a feeling that they're going to shut that down. But that's pessimism that we have not tried. So what I will try, first option, GraphQL. If we can get that to work, that'll be best. Second option, Puppeteer, browser scraping. Third option, directly using the Instagram API. Those are three options I have yet to try. And before I throw in the towel, I should try them. Any other options you guys want to throw in or questions to prompt me to help guide me into getting out of this muddling stage and find a bit of light that leads me in the right direction?
I think those three options are great options.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan of action. You surprised us with crazier sweets. I got full.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. This is nothing, bro. All you're doing is basically just competing against Mark Zuckerberg to say that you're a better coder than him.
It's a Tuesday, bro. Like that's nothing. Like,
this is what I need in a team.
mm-hmm.
Anything else? I'm about to Sid, are we throwing it over to you, or is there anything else you want to cover on my side?
No. We can throw it to me. But yeah, hit me up if you need any other help with that, because I could try vibe coding some shit. I don't know if it's gonna work or not. But like, if you want me to fuck around with Puppeteer while you're doing the graph thing, and you know, I don't know enough rules to follow them, so I might do some weird shit that you might be like, wait a second, that worked, you know?
Mhm.
So yeah, if you get stuck, just be like, bro, help, try this. I'm around. On my end, I fucking love you, Sweets, but I hate you when it comes. I call you my code reviewer to Cursor. Cursor knows you as my code reviewer.
Hmm.
Am I grading your current PR too hard? Do I need to just let that one go through?
No, keep going. I'll tell you when it gets to a point where I'm like, Sweets,
Too much?
too much. But I was this close this morning to being like, let's just fucking go. But then I was like, no, because like
Veto me at any time. I'm gonna
no, but
press high, and if
I
you ever
need
want
it.
to veto, just I can understand wanting to just like get it out.
But yeah, but I needed the backtrack because what I realized I was doing things out of order. The whole like fix it, make sure it works, you know, then make it better. Like help me think through this. The only thing that I'm struggling with right now is breaking things into such small tasks when vibe coding makes it really hard if to keep track of okay, 5 PRs ago I made this change, Cursor, but now we're working over here and you don't know about those changes. And so Cursor starts to do things not based on the sequential order of what we think is about to happen. And so I'm trying to work through that. And what I think is going to happen, or what I found thus far, is I I I originally had like 7 PRs open, and then you told me to like look like let's not work on the things that are like making it awesome until things that making it fixed are done. So instead of having 7 PRs open with a bunch of little things, I took the 3 things that represent fixing it, like make it work, and I put them into a staging branch, and then am going to submit you the most minimal PR of making it work possible. And then that way, it's instead of breaking it into 3 requests, like it's just like, okay, here's the PR that makes it work, and I'll keep it as minimal as possible. But that kind of meets in the middle between like every single. Instead of having 3 PRs, it makes it into 1, and I can kind of track it a lot easier. So I'm right now at the end of that process. The last thing that I'm doing right now is, for some reason, when I fixed the issue of the chat query stays in the input box, like the last query stays in the input box. The fix for that is then removing the ability to see chat messages.
The history.
So
Right.
yeah, just like the chat in general, it goes blank, but then it removes the bottom one, and it's something to do with use message. But I'm working through that now. I just need to, once I get that through, I'll submit the PR, and that should get us to a place where the chat works, and then we can start to move on to making it better, or what's the next one?
Make it work, make it right, make it awesome.
Making it right, which is conversation context, which is a little bit more easier to read, the little things like that. So yeah, just I'll have that PR submitted hopefully in the next hour or two, and then from there we'll be able to get out of this hole of chat not working.
If you want, I don't know what you're looking like after this, but I'm now free. If you want, after we wrap this up, we can just stay on the stream, you share, and we can just pair program it so that we can get this bit of work out the door. Or if you'd prefer we end it and you do it on your own time, I'm also cool. I just want to throw it out there that I don't have a call after this, and I'm happy to stay on so we can get this fixing out the door so that you can move on to greener pastures.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm down.
Love it.
All right, finally, before we wrap up, Isaiah, did you see the game vibe code challenge
Competition? I did. I think I'm gonna run with that, because I've been sitting on this idea for a minute, because it has to be multiplayer too, and that's what I wanted to test. Because it's like I did that vibe coding thing last week or whenever that was, and that was fun. But it's like I made 2 games in one, which was just like signing up for exponentially more work than I needed to. So it's like my new thought process. I'm gonna double back, just make one little social hub as intended, and yeah, that was on my agenda this week because it's lining up perfectly. I have the performers is like ready to go. I deployed a new test contract yesterday. I was trying to do one last like security sweep to make sure everything's good before pushing to main. But my agenda this week was push performers to main, start getting that out, soft launch, testing it internally, and then I want to build an online game around that. So I think I'm going to just, the online version was going to be like game number 3, but now that competition is going on, I think I'm just going to push it to 1 and have that be my experiment for the week.
Fire.
But yeah, I appreciate you sending that through though. It's the vibe coding game era is just an awesome space to be in right now. It's like I think it's lining up perfectly because like I've been talking about performers for so long, but it's like I can match the vision so tough now because we just have these sprites and I could just pump out like 1 game a week, like and just endless content just continue to push now. So I've been trying to fall back, get in line, and yeah, that's my plan of action. Performers, endless amount of games just being created around that ecosystem.
Yeah, bro. There's so much fucking shit popping off right now. With the Gemini experimental fucking where you can make
The
sprites
sprite sheets,
animate. Sprites
I'm
use
not gonna
make
lie.
sprites use animated sprites and shit. Like, bro, it's fucking wild.
I feel like every single day I go on Twitter, there's just something like earth shattering where it's like, that's possible? No way you just generated that. Like, it's kind of
Yeah,
scary,
bro.
honestly.
Yeah, yo, shit's fucking getting crazy. But it's so fire. And I love the fucking infrastructure we have set up already with the rhythm game. Cause it's already like, okay, cool. Like, here's an easy way to create a game and then share it. The database is set up. The MIDI thing is set up. Like, I wonder how much now that you have that shit, like the hard parts are set up for like the infrastructure of sharing it and implementing a music artist into it, but like and open sourcing it now. Like I'm just gonna throw that shit into Cursor and be like, yo, make me a new game, but keep the MIDI so it still syncs to MIDI, but make it 3D. Like,
No,
and see what
literally,
the fucking happens.
make a running game now, but make it time to the MIDI.
Yeah,
Literally.
exactly.
Oh, see, that's really smart. Because it's there. The MIDI, that was the piece. That was the piece we needed to crack. Now that the MIDI generation's there, it's like theoretically that could be applied to anything. Because we could take those same game IDs, like that information is saved there, and it's like, what if you just plug that into something totally different?
Right? That'd be crazy. Just a new prompt.
That's a good space to be in. It's like I think we're like the problem was before if like an artist came to you and wanted a game, there's just this delay period where it's like even if you had to wait a week, which is a fast turnaround time, there's still like so much time for the energy to die down, But now it's like I think we could catch them while they're still on the high. Oh, I want a game. Oh, I made a game. This is really cool, and it's like forward pushing momentum instead of like stunting momentum. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro, 1,000%. And it's like, here's the song. Here's my rollout idea. Or here's my album concept. Okay, cool. Go make me a game. Brrr. All right, cool. You come back to it. All right, like, yeah, it's just, yeah.
Isaiah, what's changed in your game dev practice in the past week as a result of seeing all these other vibe coders, all these viral tweets that are coming in this vibe coding era? In the past 7 days, has there been any changes in your practice that you've observed as a result of seeing all that?
Maybe just instilled confidence. Like it's like now I still like I just have 2 pipelines now. Like before I just had the game engine pipeline, but now I have a game engine pipeline that's always going and I have the vibe coding engine that's always going. So it's like I know greater things are possible with the vibe coding. So I've just been leaning more and more into that. And I'm glad that I have full autonomy over this stuff. You know what I mean? Like before, even like redoing performance these last like couple months, like Sweets, of all people, how much like time and effort and like, thoughts went into that. And it's like now it's just full autonomy, let the computer take the wheel, still need to direct it, still need to work with it. But to have that level of like, I don't have any blockers, I could literally do anything is like, I don't know. It seems like the world opened up and now it's just a matter of like, okay, so what's the path through here now? Before we had to choose the path that we're stuck with, but now it's like we have any path, and now it's a matter of like bypassing the analysis paralysis and going down the right way.
Bro, what'd be crazy? Is
What
if
you
you
thinking?
turned. Because the first thing I thought of when you just started saying that was like you said all the different paths. I mean, he was like, yo, like, I don't know if they're like, I think I've seen like, a my vibe game crash course tweets or whatever, like, and whatever. But like, I don't think, at least I'm not in the ecosystem to like have dived in yet, but like, is there an ELIZA framework for vibe coding or vibe code gaming where like it's just like a repo that has like 2D sprite, module, 3D sprite module, like connect your MIDI, like scoreboards, like, and you can literally just use that framework to just kick off any style game, anything like, the super base is already connected with like, user management and everything. Like, cause that shit would be fucking fire. And like, if you're already building out vibe coding games, like that's an easy way to get into the ecosystem and start pumping out games and getting other vibe code devs to use or to work together on
the
like
repo,
one repo that like kind of like is the framework for vibe gaming, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I seen one a few weeks ago, but it didn't look that comprehensive. I like your thought process on it. So I'll double back. I'll go see if it's like evolved since then. But I think that's the thought process. If there's just one resource that everyone could just pour into that like
makes it easy to kick
should
off.
expedite everything. Yeah, exactly. Because so many mechanics are like you said, the scoreboard, like, whether it's basic player movement, all these things really carry over. So cut all the building from scratch as possible. Start with the building blocks. I like that.
Yeah, like
I'll
module open source fucking ELIZA for vibe coding game. But yeah, that's fire.
I'm gonna research that this week. I'll circle back with you guys. But that might be worth building, honestly.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Azladi, you kicked it off. You got to wrap it up. That's the rule.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Go check out our repo. Go play the MP3 game generator. Let us know what you think. Stay tuned for more dope Recoup stuff. This has been